All right, thanks for joining me, you guys. And I'm going to get started. And then if you have any questions, we'll just hold those till the end, and I'll unmute everybody, and we'll have fun answering some questions and see what we can do to help you guys move forward. My name's Dave MacArthur, and the thing that motivates me is putting the things that I feel God would have me be doing in my life first. That's my number one priority, making sure my life is in harmony with God. And I find that the more I do that, the happier I am, the greater the peace, and the more success I have, because that's all principle-based. And if I follow those principles, they always lead to more success. And what I want to do is have success in helping people. That's my biggest priority in life. And everything else falls into place when we do that. And this company and what we're offering for people in solutions with their health is unprecedented. In fact, I call it a divinely inspired company because of the results that we're seeing again and again and again. I've been with the company for just over 12 years now. I have almost 300,000 people in my organization, and it's growing at the rate of about 500 to 800 a week. And so this helping people, help people. My biggest goal is to help you right now, but then in turn for you to help people. And that's how we make a difference in the world. A lot of people say, well, I just want to help in the world. I want to do good. Well, good is a category. How can we help people? And when we find that vehicle that is truly helping people, and we're grateful for that, then what remains for us to do is to share. And that happened because I'm so grateful for what happened to me. Here's the disclaimer. We're not going to talk about curing any illnesses or diseases. So here's where I was at. I was praying for God to take my life or help me find a solution. I didn't want to go on living this way. I look out of shape there, that's not me. I was always used to being in shape, but I was on my diet and exercise program again, probably for about the fourth time, and just wasn't getting results. Now, I went from this place where I was really struggling and surviving on a daily basis. And like I said, what you can't see here is what's going on in my head. And I was fatigued all the time. I wouldn't say I lost hope. I just didn't see how things were going to turn around because I was already trying everything I knew to do. So what did we do at that point? Pray. So these products showed up in my life as a result of that prayer. There's no question. There's no coincidence. And in 25 days, I was starting to feel amazing again. And I was getting my health back and my vitality and my vigor and my enthusiasm. And my whole perspective on life was changing because my health changed. And it just kept getting better and better because I kept using the products. And I became an advocate for them. When you're grateful, you share. But I was looking for something that I can make a difference in the world. How can I do more good in the world? And at that time, I was a mechanic. I was fixing cars for Honda for about 15 years. And people started approaching me, what are you doing? And so I shared with them, and they started getting these kind of results. And so I got really excited about that. And that really felt like I was making a huge impact, like a very dramatic, a very purpose-filled, like there was no limitations to what they could do with the good that I was presenting them with in their lives because of these products. And so from that first picture to that third picture is 4.5 months. Now, as I got on this crusade and started helping people with their health through these nutritional products, I started doing it full time very quickly. Company's very generous. And so in 2009, I was at a company event, and this product resulted from what happened in 2009. And this is turning back the clock. This is a breakthrough into a whole new era. There's never been anything like this. It's the greatest discovery of our time. And I have done over 2,000 meetings in the last 6 years. I did like 9 of them over the last 4 days in Minnesota. And I got home at 12 o'clock last night, got up, went to church, taught my Sunday school class, and here I am now. So this is very important. And this is the biggest impact that we could be making in people's lives with this one product right here. So after being on this product for about 5 years, 6 years, I'm back to my junior in high school wrestling weight. I'm in better shape than I've ever been, and that's not a coincidence. And I don't spend a lot of time in the gym. In fact, this whole last week, I didn't even get to work out because I was traveling in Minnesota. There was no gym where I was at. So I want to hold the magnifying glass over the science behind this. How are these products, and specifically, how is this one? How is it a revolutionary breakthrough? And I want to go into the science of that and exactly how it happened and unfolded, because I was able to watch all of it. So I get to pass it on to you guys. And after being on this product, because it's turning back the clock, I started doing things that I was doing when I was a teenager. I do feel better than I did when I was 16 years old. Recovery, endurance, mental acuity, everything. And I picked up motocross at 46 years old, and I'll be 50 here in June. And I love it. I love motocross. It was a bucket list for me. I'd never done it. And I really excelled at it as I got better and better because I was just very passionate about it. And you always get good at what you're passionate at. So as I was racing, I was beating teenagers. I literally did racing. And in motocross, it's not a matter of if you're going to have an accident. It's a matter of when. And I've had many accidents in this experience, but it's all part of it, right? But this accident was pretty bad. I shattered this leg right here. It broke like glass. Like the momentum of the fracture went up my leg rather than breaking it. And it would be like, breaking a glass. It just shatters everywhere. And so the doctor that was there, he couldn't fix it. He said, there's a specialist that does this. And he bolted this external fixator to my leg. That's going all the way through my heel, into the top of my foot, and into that bone there, 2 screws right there. And the reason why is there's no way to move any of that while I'm laying in bed for a few days and waiting for the doctor to get into town. And that way the pieces don't move around and fall out, and they have to go finding those pieces and try and wedge them back in. So it would make the surgery a lot more complicated. So in order to prevent that, they put this external fixator on. Well, the doctor fixed my leg and 3 plates, 23 screws. And I went back for a checkup, and we were just having a conversation. And in that conversation, he said it would take up to a year before I could, possibly up to a year before I stand on my leg. And then I would never run again. And I had mentioned, wanting to do a marathon. And he said, oh, you'll never run again. And I wanted to get back on the motorcycle as well. So I just took extra of the Isagenesis because I had seen what it had been doing for people. I mean, at this point, I had been sharing the product for, probably 4 years or so, and watching what's been happening to people and experiencing myself, but I didn't ever have any trauma. But at this point, I was going off of what I had seen happening for other people. People who had trauma a long time ago and they're still dealing with the pain. People who are having surgeries like right now and today, and what was happening to them as they were having the surgeries, and how the doctors, their minds were just blown at the recovery and the getting back to like 100%. So I knew I would heal quicker, and I tried to tell the doctor about it, but he just wasn't interested. So I continued to take the product while I was in bed. In fact, I took a little extra, and I was off my pain meds in 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, that surgery was worse than the actual accident, the toll it took on my leg. But I recovered very quickly. I laid in bed for about 6 weeks, and then I was in the wheelchair for 2 weeks. I was on the crutches and this little scooter for 2 weeks. And 2 weeks later, I ran stadiums. Literally. So I was off of my feet for 10 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, I was running stadiums. I had stairs in my home, and I would slide down on my butt with the wheelchair. And then when I got to the crutches, I'd use the crutches. And then after a while, I was walking up and down my stairs without anything. And so I thought, honey, let's go down to the college and just do a video, and I'll kind of explain what I'm doing here, what products I've taken. And I posted this on social media, and it went viral. A lot of people have gotten on the product and have been very blessed because they've seen this. And I've gotten messages on Facebook and text messages and people, what happened because they saw this. And so I actually now have it on YouTube, where I think there's about 500 views on that one now, but the one on Facebook was like over 10,000 views. You can see that I don't have any muscle atrophy here either. Like when a leg is in a cast for a long time, or your arm is in a sling, your muscle will atrophy. And I don't have any muscle atrophy, and I've been off my legs for 10 weeks and only on them for 2 weeks here. So it just goes to show, the power of the human body when we support it properly. So I'm going to go into the science of what's going on, and even things that are even more fantastic than this. I mean, like, to me, this is small potatoes, even though it's important, and I get to enjoy my life at 100% now. In fact, I started motocrossing again about probably few weeks after that, maybe a month or so. I don't remember exactly now, but I actually broke that foot again in motocross in less than a year. It was like in 7 months. And it healed up in about 3 weeks. I did a little hairline fracture on the top of my foot. So the body has this incredible resiliency. Anything that's alive wants to thrive. It's just, are we supporting it to do that? In most cases in society, people aren't supporting it and they start to decline, especially the older we get. So what we're going to talk about here is telomeres. They're on the tips of the chromosomes being depicted in red. And they sit in the middle of the cell in the nucleus. And the chromosomes contain your DNA, these little steps right here. And there's a nucleic bond where the colors come together. That they make an attachment right there. And the telomere holds that together on the ends. Otherwise, the bond would break. So if I have a chromosome here, and let's say the telomere is degenerating, it's wearing away, you would separate those nucleic bonds, and it's frays. It would fray the DNA. That would be like losing software in a computer. So obviously, the more DNA you lose, the more problems you're going to have with the cell, because the DNA is the software that runs the cell. And there's a lot of different ways that DNA is, or telomeres are degenerating. Trauma could do it, for sure. Stress will do it, chemicals and toxicity. And we're talking a wide variety of chemicals: smoking, drinking, trans fats, the chemicals that we have in our foods literally are shortening our telomeres faster. In fact, in pre-teenagers, because of where we're at with all the chemicals in our air, water, and food, and the lack of nutrition on top of that, pre-teenagers, their telomeres are 10 years shorter than they used to be. That means pre-teenagers have lost more DNA in their youth than they used to. And that was on the front page of USA, April 2012. So we're speeding up aging and disease, because every symptom of aging and every degenerative disease is linked to the length of the telomere. The shorter it is, the more problems you're going to have, and you won't be able to recover. Now, when it reaches a certain length, then that's called senescence, death of the cell. The cell can no longer divide. You're going to have a very debilitating degenerative disease. And if it's in an organ that's keeping you alive, you would die of that degenerative disease, because that organ won't work anymore. But your eyes are an organ, and they are made up of cells, and they have telomeres. So you could actually reach senescence in your eyes and have death of the cell, but you wouldn't die. You would just be blind. Same thing with hearing. Your mind, when you reach senescence, you would die from like Alzheimer's or dementia, the worst case scenario. If it's your skin, you're going to have some serious issues with your skin, your hair. So even your bones, people need a hip replacement or a knee replacement. That's because, you're really close to senescence. So that's Nobel Prize winning research, 2009, the correlation of aging and disease linked to the length of the telomere. And that's in the category of physiology and medicine. Now, Bill Andrews is a geneticist, and he knows, just like you and I'm sure agree, that the body can heal itself. It has what we call an innate ability to heal itself. However, we're not supporting it to do that. And that's why, the Surgeon General, in a whole nother article having nothing to do with telomeres, said it's the first generation of children that won't outlive their parents, meaning they won't live as long. The age span is going backwards now. And that's all a telomere issue. So there's a correlation between how long we live and the quality of life that we live. And it's not a good scenario right now that's playing out. But Bill knows that this has an ability to heal itself, just like when the bones break, they heal themselves. And when you get a cut in your skin, it heals itself. Well, Bill knew that this telomere issue could heal itself. And it's done via an enzyme called telomerase. And they were studying telomerase in plants, like when a plant is about to die because you forget to water it, but then you start watering it again and it comes back, and all the symptoms of aging and disease are reversed. So this in the plant is reversed. They could see it in a plant, but they couldn't see it in humans and how that's working. But they were studying it in plants. Bill's the one who identified how it does it in humans in 1994. So he was able to see on that molecular level. How is telomerase able to heal and repair telomeres and DNA? So this is Bill Andrews right here and me. It's about 6 years ago, and we did a little video together because I started teaching people about this, and Bill is the one that mentored me. And I put together this presentation, and Bill really likes it. He says, taking something really complicated to understand and make it easy to understand, and which will help people to make better decisions based on education, right? So I asked him to do a little video with me because it was really tough getting this out into the public without people thinking I'm some kind of charlatan or trying to sell snake oil or something. So this is Bill Andrews in a little video we did together.
Dave MacArthur.
I'm Bill Andrews.
And I wanted to introduce this video to you. I've collaborated with Bill Andrews and been lecturing around the country about his research in Product B. And Bill Andrews actually discovered the human telomerase gene back in 1994. He was featured in Popular Science as the man who would stop time. So Bill, what would you like to say?
Well, I've listened to Dave speak many times on Product B, and I endorse everything he has to say. So I invite you to come listen to Dave MacArthur speak about Product B.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's Bill, and like I said, he mentored me, and we've done presentations together. So here's one of the leading researchers in the world, just endorsing what I'm going to share with you now. And just an overview, as our chromosomes get shorter and shorter, it damages more and more DNA, which leads to more and more of the symptoms of aging and disease. So the only reason that this guy's starting to look like this, like he looks older and his body's degenerating, is because we're losing the DNA in the chromosomes, which runs the cells. Now, what the researchers knew, Bill and a few other, there wasn't very many people that were pursuing this, and Bill is the only lab in the world that was pursuing it exclusively. Like they weren't trying to do multiple things at the same time, just activate this gene. So what they knew is that the reproductive cells, they don't do this. They stay like this with the chromosomes, year after year, decade after decade. They call them immortal cells. So when I'm in a live presentation, I'd say, well, why do they call them immortal cells? And as people look at this and they think about it for a minute, based on what they just learned, they said, well, they're not aging. They're not going to die. And that's exactly right. There's no aging or disease in these cells, because aging and disease comes about because we're losing the DNA. The telomeres are getting shorter and shorter. These are not getting shorter and shorter. They're staying in integrity. So they're running the same as they did back when you were conceived. And the reason why is if a baby inherited these cells from a parent, my mom was 48 when she had my youngest sister, Melissa. If Melissa inherited 48-year-old genes, then Melissa would be born 48 years old, but she wasn't. She was born younger. It's because Melissa inherited these genes from my parents, not these. And scientists knew that these genes weren't aging. They called them immortal cells, but they could see under a microscope that they're not getting shorter. You could measure them, and they're 100 million bases long. Well, this one wouldn't be. It'd be a lot shorter than that. So but they didn't know why these would stay like that. And then Bill was the one who did identify it. He was featured in Popular Science as the man who would stop time for identifying that. But not only identifying it, he was able to activate it in human skin cells, inventing the equipment and then working with human skin cells. He got the cells to repair themselves. So he activated the telomerase, and the DNA started repairing itself in the cells. The chromosomes actually went back, just like in a plant. When we see a plant come back from dying, and it comes all the way back, and somebody could come over and they would never know that that plant was about to die. It looks perfect. So that's what he had happen in the cells. Now, in a petri dish. And as they were dividing, and the new cell would be divided, and the next chromosome would go into it, they were maintaining integrity. Cell division after cell division after cell division, year after year. He said there was no limit to the amount of times that they would divide now. They didn't reach senescence. So they were maintaining in perfect health and quality of life. So what they theorized at this point is if we could restore the DNA in this guy, he would go back to his mid-20s, even though he's still this old chronologically. He might be 75, 80 years old, but he would go back to that. And there's a lot of things they discovered about this. And right when he did that, he got Inventor of the Year runner-up. It was a small group of researchers in a very controlled environment, so it didn't even hit the news. But where it starts to hit the news is when Harvard piggybacked off of Bill's research and doing this in the skin cells. They did it in mice,
And now, eternal youth. Is it in a cage around the corner? News tonight of a breakthrough for some pioneering mice. But we always wonder, what does a fountain of youth for rodents reveal for humans? Here's Sharon Alfonsi reporting.
I feel tremendous.
In the movie Cocoon, it's a swimming pool that turns back the clock for a group of senior citizens. But now researchers have found a way not just to stop, but reverse the aging process. The key is something called a telomere. We all have them. They're the tips or caps of your chromosome, seen here in yellow. This is what it looks like in a young adult. But as you grow older, the telomeres become damaged and frayed, and as they stop working, we start aging, experiencing things like hearing and memory loss. Scientists took mice who were prematurely aged, added an enzyme, and essentially turned their telomeres back on. You can see it before the enzyme, after.
Their brain function improved, their fertility was restored. It was a remarkable reversal of the aging process.
Look at this picture. The mouse on the right has bad skin, gray hair, and is balding, but the one on the left had its telomeres flipped back on.
And you could see that essentially you now have a dark coat color, that the hair is restored, that the coat has a nice healthy sheen to it.
Even more dramatic, the change in brain size. This is before. The mice had 75% of a normal brain, like a patient with severe Alzheimer's. But after the telomeres were reactivated, the brain returns to normal size.
This was a huge breakthrough for science and for us as humans, because what they learned is when they activated the gene, they learned something brand new at this point. Let's say that's the damaged DNA in the mice. They saw the DNA repair itself. Prior to that, there was no knowledge that that could happen. But that's what Bill Andrews believed in. He knew that there was a trigger, that there was an innate ability for that chromosome to heal itself. And that's happening down in the nucleus of the cell. But as the DNA was changing, so was the physical cells. In fact, here's some of the things that happened. Their bones grew back without changing their diet. Their cardiovascular system was improved to that of a youthful mouse. It was reversed back to like a younger age. Their glucose levels leveled out, their skin and hair, as they're showing here, but also their brain and their mental acuity. So as the brain was losing its ability to think and memory and reason, it came back. And you can see the brains before and after. This is actually bigger. That's the lean tissue of the brain. So like the skin got better, it got smooth, it got soft, it got flexible. And so the skin of the brain as well, because the brain, the skin has cells and telomeres in the nucleus with the chromosomes. So it was a complete reversal, or a remarkable reversal of the aging process, like Dr. DeFino said. This is what caused the Nobel Prize to be given, because those are living mammals, and so are we. And so it showed them the possibilities. What if we activate our telomerase? Well, this is what would happen. And so that's when all the attention was given to this, and when it kind of came out of the lab and into the light. Now, more than a decade later, Bill had been trying to find compounds that you and I could consume to do the same thing. And he had tested over 304,000. He found 8. Each red line represents a compound that grew the telomere back, repaired the DNA in the human skin cells in vitro. But all of these were too toxic. They couldn't find anything safe, you guys. And so more than a decade later, with a team of researchers, they couldn't find anything that we could consume to do the same thing. So this is where I got involved through being with Isagenesis and working for John. Isagenesis and John's products changed my life. He's a formulator, nutritional formulator for over 40 years. He's formulated for over 600 companies. GNC, MedRx, Nature's Sunshine, Nature's Way, Muscle and Fitness. I mean, the list goes on and on, over 600 companies. He made the MREs for the military. And throughout his formulating career, very passionate about what he does. And when you're passionate, you master things, right? And he mastered the botanical world in a way that nobody else has figured out how he does it. It's very proprietary. And he says, in fact, no company would really do it anyways, because they already compromised the products I made for them. He says there's not one exception. Every single company that he formulated products for, both in the networking industry and in the corporate world, they all compromised the products. They wanted to make bigger profits. And he says it was very frustrating. So he retired and started his own company called Isagenesis in 2002. And he says, no compromise. The person that's getting the short end of the deal is the customer who thinks they're getting something that they're not. In fact, there's been a lot of studies that I've seen over the years now, being involved in this industry for 12 years. Companies are not putting what they're saying in it. One of them was called bogus supplements. None of them had what they said were in it. So highest quality, no compromise, and they're going to continue to unlock the secrets of science and nature. And Peter Greenlaw right here in the red tie, he's the one that got Bill and John together because they both knew something that the other didn't. Bill knew about telomerase and John knew about the holistic, nutritional botanical world in a way that neither of them knew. So, Bill didn't know about the botanical world like John didn't know about the telomerase. So Bill is the mastermind of getting these two guys together, and it took them a long time to do it. These are very busy, very astute gentlemen, and I call it science meets wellness, the divine connection. In fact, I had to write that in there, the divine connection, and they're honoring Peter for getting him to do such a monumental thing. Because of this product, Bill said, this is the most exciting time of my life. It's going to change the landscape of human health as we know it. Bill said it's the greatest discovery. And so what happened is John started sending formulations over to Bill's lab after Bill taught him about telomerase. And John said on the stage here, I would have formulated for telomeres a long time ago. I had heard of them, but I didn't know this role that they played. And now that I do know, I feel very optimistic, and I believe it's the reason why I was born. This is a big deal. And so he started sending formulations over based on his formulating ability to Bill's lab. This is what Bill said. Now you got to watch this. Remember what I said about the lines and everything already and what Harvard did with the mice. John sent formulations over to Bill's lab, and then Bill in a documentary, there was a point in the documentary where he talked about this. Listen to what he says.
We'd seen for natural products, and we were pretty excited. It was the 11th compound we tested out of the first 15 samples that John Anderson sent us, and it was a hit. So we use the term hit in science a lot. So when we screen a lot of samples, we'll screen like thousands of samples at a time. But, I have to confess, at first we thought, wow, was he extremely lucky? Because we thought, how could he only be asking us to screen 15 samples? After screening thousands without a hit, we need a lot more samples than 15 if we're expecting to get a hit. We got a hit. So he sends us another 15, and we get another hit.
Okay, so let's just kind of elaborate on this. John sent over 15 compounds. They tested them in the human skin cells, just like they always do. And what we're looking at is a chart here. This is Bill's graph. And a red line means that it's growing the telomeres back. So out of 15 natural ingredients, which they never got any hits out of over here, they tried tens and thousands of them and with no hits. John sends 15 and he gets a hit. So it registered. That's growing the telomere back in the skin cells in vitro in this petri dish in Bill's lab. Then he says, wow, extremely lucky, right? No, not luck. He sends another 15 and gets another hit. In 120 attempts, they get those 7. Shortly after that, they got another 5 for a total of 12. And then they released the product, and we've been seeing results that we had never seen from nutrition. And we're supporting the body on a foundational level in which it's never been supported before. Good nutrition will help slow down telomere shortening. Antioxidants will help slow down telomere shortening, but this nutrition is activating telomerase in the human skin cells. So when you put it in your body, it's supporting on that foundational level to rebuild. And Bill said it's the most exciting time of his life. He said this will change the landscape of human health. Wanted to know how John's getting the natural ingredients to do it because they tried them over here and they didn't work. And John said that's going to remain proprietary. And we're going to continue to improve the product and keep the price low. And that's exactly what's happened. There was a second generation. Then on a third generation, when it was improved for a third time, Bill called me and said, Dave, get a group together. I'm going to come and talk to you guys. John did something that I said would be impossible to do from a natural botanical. He found 2 hits that went off the chart. And this was an exciting time because we started seeing things happening faster and other things that we weren't seeing. We've far exceeded this now. We're over 25 different hits in the product that we're taking now, which is 4th generation. Bill said this right here would change the landscape of human health. We're way past that. And it's very exciting to be a part of it. This lid just pops right up. There's no child safety cap, which means it's safe. It's all natural. I'm not going to make any claims around it curing anything. The FDA would shut us down if we did that. What we're saying is we're supporting the body on a foundational level in a way that it never has before. When these came out, Bill said, imagine you're running a race and you look back to see who's in second place after you cross the finish line in first place. He said, there is no visual second. There's nobody in second. This moved their lab forward 10 to 12 years of where they thought they would be. These right here, 15 to 20 years where they thought they would be. And it's just gotten better and better. And it's continuing to get better. But right here, this would change the landscape of human health. When Bill was interviewed after the product was released, people started, getting results. And he said, it's a phenomenon. I've never seen anything like it. There's so many people that are getting so many different results. Some of the observationals that we have, and I need to find this picture because I know it moved this last time. Where did you go? There it is. Let me pull this up here. Stick it right there. Okay. So Molly, Bill's wife, they're ultra marathon runners. They run races that are very long, very extreme. This one's in the Himalayas. And she's, I think, in her mid 50s right here. And she tried running this race 2 years earlier when we didn't have this product. And she didn't make it to the finish line. Only 6 people ever have. It goes from 13,000 feet to 18, back to 14, back to 18, and then back down, and it's 138 miles long. And you have to get to the finish line in 60 hours. So it's a real test of endurance. You don't sleep. You just keep running until you get to the finish line. And you have 60 hours to do it. And she got on the product. It used, like I said, it used to be called Product B, Isagenesis. Now it's just Isagenesis. They dropped the Product B. And she was the first female and the 7th person to cross the finish line. Bill did it a year later. And now he's the oldest person to do it at 60 years old. In fact, he said he's breaking records he set back when he was 40 years old, 20 years earlier. Same races. One of them he beat by 50 minutes. And, that's the same thing. Picking up motocross. I had forgotten about motocross. I hadn't ridden a dirt bike for over 25 years. Kathy here, and these are things that are typical. And I'm just sharing with you a few of the stories just to give you an idea of the miracle of the body and what we can expect. But Emily was sharing my friend Kathy's pictures, and her friends didn't believe her that that's not her. So she's eliciting help on Facebook. Does anybody know Kathy? So some people tagged Kathy to this post, and Kathy came in and said, hello, these pictures are in fact of me. This one right here on the stage is at Fitness America in Las Vegas. At 69 years old. I just turned 70 in May. And she talks about Isagenesis and John's nutrition. And she says, I really do feel like I'm aging backwards. What else could I possibly give the credit to? Thank you, John Anderson, and thank you, Bill Andrews. Here she is at 70 years old right here. So this is the miracle of the human body. I mean, think of a plant. Think of a young baby, right? We already know that the body has the ability to do this. We've been seeing these things in front of our eyes. The only problem is we've been destroying the body. We've made a science out of killing the body and suppressing it. And we know that. This is not natural. It's normal, but it's not natural. The body can thrive. And we know in other cultures, they live and they're healthier and they have a much better quality of life. They're not having the degenerative diseases. Do you know that children are being born with type 2 diabetes and that they're getting osteoporosis before they're even teenagers? So we're speeding up the killing of ourselves. And it's because of the toxicity, air, water, food, and then lack of nutrition. This is John and Kathy. They've had amazing results. And John couldn't pull up his own pants in 4 days. He's pulling up his own pants. He's just had so much trauma in his life. And in 4 days, he was pulling up his own pants. They were really excited. They started sharing the product very quickly. And they were about to lose their house. They were really struggling. They were 3 years in back taxes to the IRS. And now in 2 years, they paid off all of their back taxes and all of their debt. It's just been awesome to, when you're sharing with people and you're causing this ripple effect of providing solutions for people and them getting their lives back, like Joseph. Joseph is somebody that they shared it with. Joseph was living in this bus with zero quality of life. You know how some people live and they go on, or they die and they go on living for a few more years? That's where Joseph was. He said, I knew my days were numbered. And he couldn't go upstairs on his own. He couldn't drive. He lost his driver's license. He couldn't read the E at the top of the eye chart from 10 feet away. He said, Dave, to walk from the back of my bus to the front, I'd have to sit down halfway. And if I wanted to go upstairs, I needed people to help me. He was hunched over. That guy's running upstairs now. He stands straight up and down. He's driving. He bought an RV. In fact, he drove his RV around for 4 straight months, sharing his story and being with people so that they could actually see him in person. Just an incredible guy. He's 83 years old. And he needed help walking upstairs. He now loads his truck full of wood. He told me, Dave, I took a load of wood up 2 flights of stairs in less than 5 minutes from my truck. I mean, Joseph's amazing. And still going at it, still sharing the product and living like better than quality of life. Dick, I was just with Dick this last 4 days out in Minnesota, and Amy and Stan and Amy, we did an expo together that I lectured at, and this is from New Year's kickoff, but I was just with them those last 4 days. I have some pictures I need to put in here. Dick was really having issues and trouble, and he was forgetting things. And so Amy came to a meeting that I did, and she immediately got her father on the product, and he's 82 here, 83 here, 85 here, and 87 right here. And he just broke his leg, you guys, like me. Now, and when he broke his leg, Amy's like, man, we did not even look at that as a negative. He's so healthy. I mean, he's working out, as you can see here, right? And he drives himself around. And they when he broke his leg, they said, all right, we're going to have an incredible story to share on your healing. The day after the surgery, he came to our meeting. He was walking on his leg. They put a rod in it. He walked on his leg. He came over to the meeting in a wheelchair, but he could stand on it. And he was at the meeting the next day, right after the surgery. And he was doing pull-ups in the bed from the bar that goes over the top of the bed. He was doing pull-ups while he was laying in bed before the surgery. And they said that he was the healthiest person in that hospital on that floor. And the doctor said, me included. We've never seen somebody like this. And how he's able to just be resilient from this accident, that doesn't happen for people his age. This is incredible. So yeah, they're already starting that story. This is Minnie, and I was with Liddy and Minnie's husband. John's 90, and Minnie was 80 right here. In her back, you can see it here. Liddy got her on the products, and this is 5 months later. And her chin was always stuck to her chest, as you can see right here. She couldn't stand up straight. Here, she's standing up straight. You can see her chin is up off of her chest, and she just looks younger here than she does here. So I got to watch that happen. And John is just full. He's jogging, 90 years old. He went to all of the meetings with us. He covered 600 miles with us. And he sat shotgun with me, telling me about all the stories when he was over in Holland when the war broke out and how Germans were shooting at him. And he actually got shot when he was around a bunch of soldiers from an airplane. He was shot in the war at 16 years old. So just incredible, what the body's capable of doing. Tim was hunched over as well, and I was at a meeting in Reno, and I said, let's just take a picture of you. You're standing straight up and down. They were going to put the Harrington rods in his back when he was 15 years old, and when I met Tim, he was hunched over and didn't have much quality of life. In fact, he's a handyman, and he said he didn't think he was going to be able to do it much longer. And that day at that meeting, before he came, he said he was hanging drywall by himself. And then Dr. Vitale saw Tim and that he was taller than him now. Tim put on about 2.5 inches and from straightening up. And then Vitale saw him and said, what are you doing? And Tim was telling him about Isagenesis and Telomeres. And he said, Telomeres, I've been studying telomeres for 10 years. There's a product for telomeres now? And I want to know more about this. He came to my meeting. This is Dr. Vitale. 6 months later, Malcolm took that picture. Malcolm's on this presentation with us. And then Bob Sheridan, he lives in Las Vegas. I did a couple meetings in his home. The hospital sent him home. His cardiovascular system, like the mice, was just shot. And the doctors couldn't do anything for him. They said, your heart's so weak, we can't even put a pacemaker in. Just go home and get the paperwork together. So Dennis and Sharon Allen, they got him on the products. They're friends with him. And Bob's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He's known as the Colonel, very famous around the world. So when he went back to announcing boxing matches, 6 months later, Fight News interviewed him and said, Bob, what in the world's going on? We thought we were going to lose you. You're looking great. He said, yeah, my wife got me on this product that works on a cellular level, and here's what it's done for me. And he tells him everything. and his heart ejections went to 43, which the medical community has never seen that. Here he is sitting at home in his recliner at 72 years old. They just interviewed him at 77 years old. He's still working, calling boxing matches and doing galas all over the world. And they interviewed him and said, "Bob, how you doing?" And he said, "I feel like I can go on announcing for another 20 years." And, quality of life and doing fun things. Bob bought a sports car right here and got a ticket going 120 miles an hour, right? That's how good he felt. Like the mice, he's bounding around like a teenager again. And this guy would have been in a wheelchair for sure. And then Karen, who had been homebound for 3 years, Malcolm shared the products with her. She came to a meeting that I did in Vegas. This is her 2 days later. She had already had the paperwork done. She was supposed to die by November. Her time was up. She had kept herself alive for 3 years, but it was coming to an end. And she bought some pills from somebody who had their own bottle at the meeting. And she said, "I'm going to order it, but I just want to get started on it tonight. I don't have time to lose." So that's 2 days later. There's 3 days later. She came to our company event. She was homebound here. She came to the whole company event. Here she is after getting on the other products. 1 month, 2 months. She's back to riding horses. She shared the product with so many people, changing people's lives. That's that ripple effect. Like, I want to teach people and help them to get their life back, but these principles are powerful. I just shared with you a whole new principle of health that people don't know about. We're pioneering history. I don't want it just to stop with you. I want you to share it with other people. That's how we're making a difference in the world, how we're doing good in the world. And I have this on YouTube. You can have people watch this on YouTube. You don't even have to explain to them what it is. Just send them the YouTube link. Say, "Watch Dave's presentation." It's just like this one. So, now going to what I got started on back in 2005, I'm going to transition to the nutrition now that I've been on for 12 years. Our nutrition in our country is it's not food anymore. It's food-like stuff. It's riddled with chemicals and toxicity and cheap fillers and things that don't feed the body. Even healthy food, 1 bowl of spinach used to give you enough iron for a week. 2007, it takes 51 bowls of spinach to give you the same amount of iron. So it's not just iron. You have to have 60 different minerals going in your body at every meal. The minerals are missing from the soil. So if they're missing from the soil here in the US, then how are you going to get them? Well, you're going to supplement. But supplements don't have what they say are in them. And John Anderson said that when he came out of retirement, or when he started retired and started Isagenesis, he said, "When I formulated for those other companies, there's not one of them that didn't compromise the quality of the product." So it's kind of a lose-lose scenario, and we're seeing that in people's health. Nobody's dramatically turning around like they are in Isagenesis. Let me show you the pictures that are happening because of people getting on John's products. When he said, "I could have people looking different and feeling different in 3 to 5 days," he's not kidding. 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Nancy was about to die. She knew it. All the medical community was doing was just giving her oxygen, keeping her alive, not getting her body to heal. And somebody shared Isagenesis with her, and she's doing push-ups in the gym. This is her most recent picture. Almost 70 years old. Quality of life. The body is now responding. It's thriving. Why? Because Isagenesis and what John Anderson and this holistic approach in a way that nobody else is doing it because of John Anderson. I would say there are companies out there that have great products, but nothing close to what John's able to do. Nobody's ever figured out how he's formulated. No compromise. Everett, 82 years old. He was only 112 pounds. He used the same products that she used to lose 120 pounds in less than a year. He put on muscle. The scale went up for Everett. He gained 14 pounds in 30 days. Muscle. He stopped using his walker. Almost 70 years old right here. I mean, you can see what good nutrition. Look, they're not even the same people. This young lady right here couldn't lose weight after her 3rd child, and that's her. My buddy Spencer, putting on muscle, just like Everett, only he's working out really hard and hitting the gym. This kid couldn't put on muscle. He couldn't gain weight. He was eating everything. And like Everett, he put on weight, 15 pounds, but he was working out, so it turned to muscle, right? Because the protein. This gal right here is not getting the nutrition. That's obvious. She's getting food, obviously, but it's bankrupt food. even if there is some nutrition in it, there's not enough. And so this is a 30-day transformation. This is a 90-day transformation. This happens all the time in Isagenesis. We say it wakes people up and gives them the isoglow. Joe Berth, my friend, really good friend, 136 pounds in a year, no hanging skin. Why? Because it's not a diet. You're not starving the body. Your skin is going to build up collagen and make it more elasticy, like a rubber band. Other companies steal her pictures and use her pictures with their products. Jeff Beebe at 55. This gal's in People Magazine as a health coach. That's her. This is her in People Magazine. This lady's in People Magazine this January, 2018. 439 pounds released. We have over 600 people that have reported losing over 100, 200, 300, 400 pounds. She mentions Isagenesis. We have 2 people in this edition. I need to get the other gal in here. She released over 200 pounds. And they keep it off. Why? Because this is a lifestyle. It tastes so much better than when I was on a diet, and I feel so much better. That's the big difference. But I love how it tastes. I was eating raw oatmeal with hot water in it and tuna right out of a can. That tastes like leather after a couple days. This is so much better than that, and I'm getting way better results, and I've been able to maintain it. So there's my 4 pillars of health right there. This one being the most, well, I would say this product right here, the Isagenesis, is the single greatest one thing you can put in your body by a long shot. There's nothing that even comes close. We're talking about at the core, the foundation of our health. No nutrition has even touched that. Not even this nutrition. It would help it from not shortening as fast, pull the toxins out of the body with a full body nutritional cellular cleanse. But nothing has been supporting telomeres like this has until this came out. And it's still the only thing that's doing it nutritionally. So we have over, Paul Arciero, he did over 40 clinicals and had them published in peer-reviewed medical journals. He's done the clinicals on our products. And he said, had I not done these, I would have thought it was a lie. There's no way. Because it's such an outlier what our nutrition is doing. And we ended up in PubMed. We were ranked the #1 study over Harvard, Stanford, the Mayo Clinic, North Carolina, John Hopkins, ranked the #1 study. And what we're doing with our products is unparalleled, unprecedented. And he's very excited to be partnering up with our company after doing about 3 different clinicals. So you can get started a lot of different ways. 1 bottle of Isagenesis is enough for a month. That's a normal amount. So you would take 2 pills in the morning and 2 pills at night. And there's a delivery system in it as well. And 2 bottles, if you're in crisis mode or you want to see things happen faster, if it was me, I would double up. If you're one of those people that like to see things happen fast, it'll help to assimilate. Even though you're taking more, though, it still takes time too, because it takes up to 120 days to assimilate into every cell. But the more you're going to put in, the faster that's going to speed that up. 2 bottles would be $150. It's a $29 membership for 1 year, and then your tax and shipping. So $150 for 2 bottles. That could be enough for 2 people, or if you wanted to double up. The meal replacement, I've been doing these meal replacements for over 12 years. It's not a diet shake, it's superfood. So I'll go out of my way when I eat a meal. When I do 2 meals with the Isagenesis, and then I do 1 meal a day. I'll go out of my way to go to a Whole Foods or a Trader Joe's or a healthy restaurant that really has clean organic food. I try to do that most of the time when I'm on the road. And but there is no meal that could do what this does. There's no superfood. There's no organic food. This has over 240 nutrients in it. And we inspect every ingredient every time it's dropped off and every batch to make sure that what we said is in it is actually in it. And there's over 240 nutrients. It's enzyme active as well. So it's like eating raw food. But if you were to get all the nutrients from raw food, it would fill up your entire kitchen table. There's no way. This is less calories, way more nutrition. So it's the exact opposite of what people are doing out there in society. There's a 9-day program, which is what I did for the first month. I followed this. I did 2 of them in 1 month. I released 27 pounds. And then you have the Isagenesis you can add to that. So everything's available individually. You have bigger packs. There's a value pack right here. The Isagenesis is included in this AM PM pack with your essentials, 2 shakes a day, 1 cleanse day a week, Ionic Supreme, greens, bars, even in your snacks. So this is a free membership comes with that, and you get a free blender. It's a really incredible deal. They put that together just recently. There's a lot of other product. We have a nitric oxide product. It's 2 ounces. You just take 1 every day. Ionic Supreme, that comes in here. I didn't even talk about some of these products that so deserve to be in the spotlight. It's just every product that John Anderson and Isagenesis puts together is head and shoulders above what's out there. What I love about the Isagenesis and really presenting people with that and getting them started with that, bare minimum, at least with the Isagenesis, is the science and the new breakthrough. There's no competition, and it's unparalleled. So, and it's very easy to do too. I like that aspect. It's very easy to do. So what you do is just get back with the person that got you here, and they'll get your information from you, and then they'll set up your own account. As a preferred customer, you get 25% off. So that's the wholesale account. That's same price I get it for. And I'm on auto ship, so I'm getting the 30% discount on all the products. Anybody can do that, right? And you control your own auto ship. It's in your website. If you want to share the products, and you're not selling any products because people get the products same price you do as a customer. You just want to share solutions with people. So they have what's called becoming a consultant. And if you order 100 BV in business volume, that qualifies you. Well, 2 bottles of Isagenesis is more than 100 BV. So you can see how you don't have to sell product. They pay you percentage on every order that's done every time on your organization on unlimited depth. So what that looks like, it's part of bringing heaven to earth. It gives people more options. Money's not everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. And I've been a faithful Christian without money, and I've been a faithful Christian, well, let me say not without money, but struggling. And I've been a faithful Christian with more than enough money, and I would pick with more than enough money every time because it allows me to do more in the world. I would say everything that I've been able to contribute since being in this company, the money's been a part of that. It's always been an aspect of it, but it's principle-based. Money's not alive. I'm not going after the money. The money's a result. So the way they set it up is it's a $29 membership, and you're a customer, and you get the products at wholesale. And a lot of people just use our products, and they get the products at the same price as I do. I've made almost $9 million in the company now, me and my wife, and you get the product same price I do. I love that about the company. They just know that there are certain people that are entrepreneurial, and they're going to help drive the company and the business. And then a lot of people will just be consumers, and it will raise the level of every area of their life because your health is your number one asset. It impacts every area of your life. But for people who are entrepreneur, or maybe you just want to get your products paid for, you're not going to sell products because you already met the qualified order. That's very easy to do. You're just going to share with other people what it pertains to the conversation you're having with them. And if they say, you know what, I would like to have a result like that, then you say, all right, let's just set you up with an account. And so then what happens as soon as you do that with 2 people who also order 100 BV, which most people are going to, then you're a consultant. It doesn't mean you're going to do a business. It just means you're eligible to get paid 6% on every volume, on every order that happens in your entire organization. So at that point, let's say Cindy comes into my group, she enrolls 2 people, and Cindy's in my group, I'm going to get paid 6% on their orders. It's the generosity of the company. They pay you 6% on everybody on unlimited depth on your 2 teams. That's it, just 2 teams on unlimited depth. I don't have to enroll these 2 people. I'm still going to get paid on them. And whoever they share it with, and whoever they share it with. So Cindy enrolled 25 people, but she had 950 in her group at about a year. And she's getting paid 6% on that. So that's leverage. And I'm going to stop there, though, and just see if anybody has any questions and unshare the screen here. Hey, we had quite a few more people pop on. There's Kathy. I talked about you, Kathy. That was Kathy and John were the ones that were struggling financially and with their health. Let me unmute. Kathy, I have some people on here. Somebody's dealing with some problem as well. Do you want to just kind of share like how fast you guys saw results once you started putting Isagenesis in your body?
Well, like you had said, within 3 days, not only could John bend over and pull up his own pants, but I could bend over, because when I had bent over to pull up his pants, my back started bothering me. So both of us within 3 days saw and felt the results.
Yeah.
And so it was phenomenal. And then, like you said, just because out of our hearts we shared with others that we were able to pay off all the credit cards, we were paid by, the next year we paid off all the 3 years of back taxes. And it's only because other people got the results that we were getting.
Yeah. The results are very quick and very dramatic, aren't they? And you're just taking those 4 pills a day, but we understand now through the presentation what those 4 pills are doing. It's the greatest breakthrough discovery of our time.
Amen.
You guys have been such a blessing now. You have thousands of people in your organization that are getting healthier, getting younger, and becoming financially free, and that's creating a great ripple effect in the world.
It sure is. It makes you feel good that you can help others, and we really appreciate, Dave, that you shared with us.
Yeah. Well, I'm grateful you guys showed up in my life. What a blessing. And we're just getting started too. This product is only in 0.5% of homes, you guys. That's why nobody's heard about it. It's so new. We're not even in 1%. I didn't say 5%. I said 0.5%. Nobody knows about this. In fact, some people in Isagenix don't even know what this product is because they haven't seen my presentation. They hadn't been to the event when they unveiled it. And so we've got, I don't want to say the best kept secret because we don't want to keep it a secret, but we do want to get it out there and help as many people. So when I share this and share these principles with you guys, I'm hoping that it blesses your life and then you bless other people's lives because of it. Because I can't change the world by myself. Me and Kathy can't change the world by ourselves. We need other people. Malcolm can't help, but the 3 of us can't change the world by ourselves. We need to geometrically progress that. Like I was talking with Alice, she had so many kids, and then her kids had kids, and then those kids had more kids. It's like that geometric progression. That's what we want to have happen here so that we can bring heaven to earth. Having everybody enjoying their time while they're here on the earth.
Your total reward card to begin.
No more CNN, right? No more CNN, constantly negative news. Let's get rid of that. All right, thank you. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, Dave.
Excellent. Your total reward card to begin.
And thank you, Laura. Joseph just turned 85, the one who's chopping down trees and loading the wood and carrying it up the stairs. Just turned 85 last Monday, so happy birthday, Joseph. And there's Malcolm skiing on the lift. Look at him. He's like, yeah. He's on the lift. That is so, you can take this business anywhere, right? Way to go, Malcolm.
Yeah, there you go. Thumbs up.
That's awesome. I'll be with Malcolm tomorrow in Fresno, California.
Yes, we'll see you tomorrow.
On Monday.
Yes, Dave.
All right, you guys, have a great night. Great rest of your Sunday, and I'll be back on here again next Sunday. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Dave.
Okay, get back with the person that got you here. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.